The term liberal has been derived from a Latin word that has the meaning free. Liberalism is a political ideology that emphasizes the freedom of individuals regarding many things, such as religion, individuality, politics, thoughts, etc.
Neoliberalism, on the other hand, mainly refers to economic freedom, and this concept came into being in the 20th century. The main difference between the two is that liberalism is mainly a political theory, whereas neoliberalism is an economic concept.
Liberalism can be identified as a political philosophy which emphasizes the idea of being free and liberate. This idea of being free could be applied to many concepts and situations, but liberalists focus more on democracy, civil rights, property ownership, religion etc. in general. It was during the period of Enlightenment that this philosophy of liberalism came into the field, and a philosopher called John Locke is said to have introduced this concept.
According to him, an individual has a birthright to freedom, the right to inherit property, and the right to lead a free life. Thus, this right should not be violated depending on the individual's social connections. Liberalists rejected the absolute monarchy, the state, religion, and the immense power and authority of kings, etc. Instead of the monarchy, liberals promoted democracy.
Liberalism gained much attention after the French Revolution. Europe, South America, and North America established liberal governments in the 19th century. This concept also became a key component in expanding the welfare state in Europe and North America. Today it is a powerful influencing political force throughout the world.
What is neoliberalism? Neoliberalism is an economic concept which promotes free trade and economy. This concept came into being in the 20th century. The main idea connoted by this concept is that free economic policies should be given prominence and government spending should be reduced in order to increase the private sector intervention.
Difference between liberalism and neoliberalism. Ideology. Liberalism. Liberalism is a political philosophy. Neoliberalism. Neoliberalism is an economic philosophy.
Focus. Liberalism. Liberalism mainly focuses on individual freedom of thought, religion, life, property ownership etc. Neoliberalism. Neoliberalism focuses on the free trade and privatization etc.
Time period. Liberalism. Liberalism came into being in the Age of Enlightenment. Neoliberalism. Neoliberalism came into being in the 20th century.
Current usage. Liberalism. Liberalism is popular even today in many nations. Neoliberalism, the usage is declined and the term is now rarely used.
Is popular even today in many nations.
Liberalism is frequently cited as the dominant ideology of modern times. Liberalism became a distinct movement in the Age of Enlightenment, gaining popularity among Western philosophers and economists.
Came into being in the 20th century.
Neoliberalism, also neoliberalism, is a term used to signify the late 20th century political reappearance of 19th century ideas associated with free market capitalism after it fell into decline following the Second World War.
The usage has declined and the term is now rarely used.
Neoliberalism is an old term, dating back to the 1930s, but it has been revived as a way of describing our current politics. The usage is declined and the term is now rarely used.
Is an economic philosophy.
Neoliberalism is contemporarily used to refer to market-oriented reform policies such as eliminating price controls, deregulating capital markets, lowering trade barriers, and reducing, especially through privatization and austerity, state influence in the economy.
mainly focuses on individual freedom of thought, religion, life, property ownership etc.
Liberalism is a political and moral philosophy based on the rights of the individual, liberty, consent of the governed, political equality and equality before the law. Liberals espouse various views depending on their understanding of these principles.
Came into being in the Age of Enlightenment.
Age of Enlightenment. The development of liberalism continued throughout the 18th century with the burgeoning Enlightenment ideals of the era. This was a period of profound intellectual vitality that questioned old traditions and influenced several European monarchies throughout the 18th century.
Is an economic philosophy.
Neoliberalism is a policy model that encompasses both politics and economics. It favors private enterprise and seeks to transfer the control of economic factors from the government to the private sector.
Is a political philosophy.
Liberalism is a school of thought within international relations theory which revolves around three interrelated principles: rejection of power politics as the only possible outcome of international relations. It questions security, warfare principles of realism, mutual benefits and international cooperation.